relates to the TAC recommendations relating to the inventory. You served on the Tongass Advisory Committee, so I'm going to rely on you for a little background on how the transition and the inventory really kind of came together within those discussions. In my questioning to Mr. Bonney, I made clear or read the statement from the TAC about the inventory being the #1 priority. And he seems to suggest, and actually he did state, that the Forest Service will have all the data that it needs to guarantee the success, apparently, of a young growth transition by the end of this summer's survey on Prince of Wales. And indicated that there can be this parallel track, if you will, that the inventory has begun, we appreciate that, but that it can go alongside the forest plan amendment process. Can you please speak to why it was important that the TAC recommend a comprehensive stand-level inventory? Also, further to the point, has anything changed since January 21, when that statement was pretty conclusively made that it remains the #1 priority? And then, is it possible that the Forest Service really has all that it needs in terms of, will have all that it needs in terms of an inventory when it completes the review this summer?
You know, I spent 18 months on the TAC, so it seems like a lifetime to me. But basically, there was two pieces to that. The first piece was we knew there was going to be fall-down acres. When you look at the old-growth stands, they lose about 60% of the stands' acres when they try and put a timber cell together. So we knew we would have similar ones in the young growth. We'd spent some time in the field with the fish biologist. She showed the streams that were logged through in the beginning that will have to be protected. So we know we're going to get some fall-down. So we knew in our models we could not get an answer from the Forest Service on what kind of fall down to use. So in our modeling that we did, we did no fall down acres. So we used the 250,000 acres the Forest Service has. That was the first point. The second point was the conservation community was pushing hard for absolute dates on ending old growth, and we couldn't give it to them. We did not have the information because one of the things that we agreed to in this TAC was that for every acre of young growth, we would stop harvest an acre of old growth. But that went vice versa too. The vice versa was that for every acre of young growth you did not get, you had to do more old growth. So there was, for the first time, there was kind of a leverage there on both sides of it there. So the TAC, when Bonnie came to Ketchikan, the TAC knew we had to have better inventory. There just was not there. I attended a meeting here last week. The Forest Service has 50,000 acres of information on 250,000 acres. They're blowing that up over the other 200,000 acres. The land is highly variable. They will tell you it's highly variable. They do not have enough information. The TAC position was that we needed that because we had to make final decisions on when to stop the old growth harvest, and we just couldn't do that. We just did not have enough information to make that decision. The other thing is the acres left in this plan amendment are so low that if we lose part of those acres to this fall down or to the uneconomic ability, there will not be a timber industry. There will not be enough acres left of harvestable timber to be able to maintain any kind of industry in Southeast Alaska.
So that's the reason why we have to get this inventory correct.
You only have one time. We can't undo it. As you guys have seen in all this federal legislation, it never gets undone. So if we make a mistake now, there will be no timber industry. The communities in Southeast Alaska will suffer greatly because of it.
So the TAC continues to recommend a comprehensive stand-level inventory. That hasn't changed.
That has not changed a bit.
And as far as this parallel track that's been suggested, that we can move forward with the forest plan amendment process while at the same time conducting an inventory. Does that work or not work?
Well, from the industry side, what I see out there today is that the TAC made some very strong recommendations. They only took part of those recommendations. They did not take them all. The timber sales they're working on today do not follow the TAC recommendations. So there's going to be a downfall in the amount of young growth available as they don't intensively manage or intensively harvest these stands. So what we see since the TAC recommendation today is that the Forest Service has still not implemented on the ground the recommendations that we've made. And those are difficult recommendations, and that's what's going to determine whether this thing will work or not. But right now, we do not see whether there's a will to get the recommendations in place.
Okay. Well, we're going to continue to push to make sure that we have a firm understanding. It's been suggested that somehow or other my motivation is to delay the forest plan amendment, delay it indefinitely. My intention is not to delay the plan. My intention is to make sure that that plan is based on the true facts on the ground, a true, honest understanding as to what our inventory is that will allow us to base the decisions on good grounded science that will allow us to get it right, because as you have suggested, we've got one opportunity to get it right. So I appreciate the work that you and others have done on the TAC. I know that it's not easy. I know that it has been difficult, but I appreciate the good work. I also appreciate you recognizing that, in fact, all of the recommendations from the TAC were not put into play. So, again, thank you for what you have done in helping to advance these very important issues. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the extra time that you've given us and the committee as well. As we continue to work to refine this draft proposal, we would certainly welcome and encourage your continued input. If members have questions for the records, we'll make sure that we get them out to you quickly. But again, thank you for being here. And the committee stands adjourned.